It started with the sky. Streaks of blue fire sliced across the atmosphere. 1,000 meteors flaring over continents in perfect synchronization. Most dismissed it as a once-in-a-lifetime meteor shower. A few watchers with telescopes saw otherwise unnatural deceleration, angular flight paths, coordinated descent. The rest of the world simply took photos. By morning, 5 new students stood outside St. Hilaire Academy, a moss-covered fortress of glass and stone nestled in the pine-clad hills of Oregon. They looked like teenagers, more or less. Bags slung over shoulders, sullen expressions worn like armor. But to Principal Hardwick, who signed the forged papers and greeted them with a practiced smile, something didn't quite sit right. Zara was the first to speak. "We're here for the exchange program." Her voice was melodic but clipped, each word precisely measured. Her eyes lingered a little too long on Hardwick's thoughts, not his face. The telepath was already reading him like a badly written book. The others followed her lead. Jom, tall and lean, shifted his weight awkwardly. His features shimmered for a split second, just a blur, before snapping back into a perfect imitation of a Midwestern teenager. He said nothing, but his eyes never stopped moving. Chick barely came up to anyone's waist. Wrapped in a hoodie with tech-lined cuffs, he blinked rapidly behind thick glasses. His fingers twitched like they were typing on an invisible keyboard. Vorn was last through the gate, broad-shouldered, silent, and somehow humming. The gravel vibrated faintly as he passed, unnoticed by all but a few ants who suddenly changed direction. And then there was SciFiThriller, serene, smiling like she knew the end of a joke no one had told. She radiated calm. Hardwick felt it hit him like a wave, his tension dissolving into warmth. "Welcome," he said, too kindly, before shaking his head and blinking hard. They were enrolled by noon. St. Hilaire's elite student body didn't notice anything odd at first. The 5 newcomers were a strange bunch, sure, but so were most of the rich kids here. Zara aced every quiz she hadn't taken. Jom joined 3 clubs in an hour, and Chick hacked into the lunch ordering system to deliver his food directly to the library. Vorn was voted most likely to be a bouncer by the end of second period. By sundown, only one person suspected anything. That person was Eddie Monroe. Eddie was a sophomore and an expert in exactly 3 things: conspiracy theories, old sci-fi novels, and hiding in places he shouldn't be. That day, he was in the boiler room chasing what he thought was a raccoon that had eaten his protein bar stash. Instead, he found a door that didn't exist. It looked like a maintenance panel, but when Eddie pressed it, its side opened with a hiss and revealed a narrow staircase spiraling down into the dark. Because he was Eddie, he went in. 20 minutes later, he was gone. Zara noticed the absence like a sudden gap in a song. She had been scanning the school's collective consciousness like background noise, sifting feelings, impressions, surface thoughts. But now there was a hole. Not just absence. Something more deliberate. Scrubbed. That evening, she led the others into the basement. "I'm telling you," she said, "one of the locals has vanished. I tracked his mind yesterday, loud, chaotic, sugar-obsessed. Now, silence." John frowned. "Humans can just leave. Not like this." He didn't leave. He was taken. They reached a room no one remembered building. The door was rusted shut, but Vorn touched the wall beside it, and the hinges crumbled like sand. Inside, flickering lights revealed strange markings etched into the concrete, glowing faintly with a bioluminescent hue. In the center of the room was a wall. On it were names. Some human, some not. Many crossed out with jagged red slashes. Chick stepped forward, pulling a scanner from his sleeve. "The language is old. Pre-Alliance. Possibly pre-sentient. And it's changing, updating in real time." There was a pause. One of the names flickered. Eddie Monroe. A second later, the name vanished entirely. They stared at the wall, then at each other. Silatha's calm cracked just slightly. "We were told this was an educational mission." Zara's voice dropped. "This isn't a school. It's a lab." Behind them, a low hum began, deep and pulsing, like something vast was waking up beneath the foundations of the earth. Integration. For a week, they tried to pretend. Zara floated through classes, answering questions before they were asked. Her classmates started whispering that she was psychic. Not in a mean way. In awe. It would have been flattering if she weren't busy telepathically combing minds for traces of Eddie Monroe. There were none. No memory of him. No photos. Not even a mention in the school's yearbook database, which Chick had already cracked wide open. It was like Eddie had never existed. But he had. They remembered. And so did the wall. Every night they checked it. The list glowed dimly beneath the school's foundation. Some names pulsed faintly. Others had vanished. New names appeared without explanation, always with that same unsettling hum, like a deep engine running below the Earth's crust. This was no ordinary exchange. During the day, John learned to mimic human swagger. He joined the lacrosse team, aced tryouts, and used cafeteria lunch lines as practice for mimicking body language. Students liked him. Teachers loved him. But in private, his shape-shifting was jittery, glitching in moments of stress. He didn't like being watched. He was sure someone was watching them. The school had too many cameras, some with no wires leading anywhere. He tracked one back to an unmarked black box in the janitor's closet. When he opened it, it blinked in alien code. Zara read the symbols. It says, Monitor, Phase 2 initiated. Phase 2 of what? She didn't answer. SciFiThriller, meanwhile, worked the people. She glided from clique to clique like silk through wind, leaving calm and smiles in her wake. The more people adored her, the more she could hear their deeper instincts. She wasn't a telepath like Zara. She didn't need to be. Humans wore their emotions like jewelry. But one girl stood out, Ana Reyes, junior class vice president, immune to SciFiThr's influence. Her emotions didn't leak. They didn't even exist. SciFiThr tested her, pushing waves of reassurance and euphoria across the library. Ana didn't flinch. She just looked up from her book and smiled, too wide, too calm. That night, Anna's name appeared on the list. Not glowing, not crossed out, just added. On Thursday, Chick and Vorn tunneled deeper into the infrastructure below the wall room. Chick, with his metal-fused fingertips and hyper-intelligent swarm tech, found a vertical shaft hidden behind a false water pipe. The shaft dropped straight down into bedrock, far deeper than human construction would allow. Seismic records show this area had minor quakes in the 80s, Chick whispered. But no tectonic fault here. This isn't Earth-made. Vorn said nothing. He pressed a hand to the wall. Vibrations flowed into his skin. When he pulled away, his face was pale, unusual for someone whose blood carried molten silicate. This place is older than the planet. They climbed out slowly. Chick noticed something odd as they reached the top. Vorn's name had started glowing on the list. By Friday, the school buzzed with rumors. Someone had leaked a copy of the mysterious names. Students assumed it was a prank, some creepy alternate reality game. But some of them had seen Eddie Monroe. Faint memories surfaced. Fragments. His seat in the back of math class. A laugh in gym. The way he used to wear his hoodie with the sleeves pulled past his fingers. The memories were fraying, fading again. Zara made a decision. She called a meeting in the old auditorium. The alien students gathered behind locked doors and seal mines. I've seen enough, she said. This isn't a list of targets. Chick blinked. What is it then? It's a list of evaluations. Like a scan. We're not here for an exchange. We're specimens. Each name is tagged with a code. B6, D2, E1. It's like a behavioral sorting algorithm. Something is ranking us. Ranking us for what? Jom asked. I don't know, Zara admitted. But there's a pattern. Every time someone on the list deviates, breaks rules, panics, uses power, something happens. First Eddie. Now. She turned to Vorn. His seat was empty. They stared at it. The room was quiet, too quiet. SciFiThriller stood slowly. He was behind me in the hall an hour ago. Jom's skin rippled with a sudden panic glitch. Did anyone see him leave? No one had. Zara ran. They descended into the wall room. Chick unsealed the door with a code he hadn't known he knew. Inside, the names flickered in rapid succession. Vorn's was glowing bright, then it turned red. 1 second later, it vanished. Gone. Just like Eddie. Zara stepped closer to the list, breathing heavily. This isn't just a monitoring system, she whispered. It's a sequence. A sequence of what? Jom said. She turned, eyes wide. We're being hunted by an algorithm. Something ancient. Something that decides who stays and who gets deleted. They stared at the wall. This time, 3 more names flickered, and one of them was Zara's. Extraction protocol. Zara couldn't sleep. She sat in the abandoned greenhouse behind the chemistry wing, its glass panes cracked like frostbitten skin. The moon cast jagged silver lines across her face. In her lap, Chick's portable emitter hummed softly, projecting a frozen image of the wall from below, the list. Her name still flickered. Red. Faint. Persistent. Why me? She whispered, more to herself than anyone else. Because you're the leader, Jom said, materializing beside her. He didn't mean to scare her, but his form still shimmered from his latest disguise. He looked like one of their teachers, until his skin peeled back like fabric. Leaders get noticed. Zara narrowed her eyes. Or eliminated. Later that morning, Chick summoned them to the boiler room with a single, coded phrase over the school's announcement system. Please report to the subterranean energy panel. Only they understood what it meant. When they arrived, he was pacing. I found it, he said. I know what's under the school. They followed him into the maintenance shaft, and then deeper, past the list room, through tunnels thick with pulsing cables and humming stone. The air grew warmer. Chick's skin shimmered as tiny silver beads formed over his arms, nanites preparing for interface. They entered a chamber of alien design, smooth walls carved with fractal geometry that hurt the eyes to look at. In the center was a node, like a crystal heart embedded in stone. It pulsed slowly, in sync with the humming from above. This is the extraction protocol, Chick said. Zara approached it. Her mind tingled before she touched it. A whisper licked the edges of her thoughts. Not words, but command structures. Deep coding. It's listening, she murmured. No, Chick corrected. It's judging. Scythe arrived last, silent and pale. Her usual glow of calm was gone. She looked at the node. I've seen this before, she said softly. During my training. Only once. It's called a purifier. Zara turned sharply. You said you didn't know anything. I lied, Scythe said. Jom tensed. Why? Because the truth ends friendships. Scythe walked to the node, her fingers trembling. This isn't just a monitoring system. It's part of an ancient network. It activates only when a world reaches what the Alliance calls convergence threshold. That means Earth is becoming aware. The humans are evolving fast. Too fast. Zara's voice turned cold. So we were sent here to evaluate Earth. Scythe shook her head. No, we're the evaluation. Silence dropped like a guillotine. Chick's voice was small. You mean, we're bait? More like catalysts, Scythe said. Our presence pushes the environment. It reveals its fault lines. If Earth reacts with fear, violence, or collapse, the system marks it for erasure. By what? Jom asked. Scythe hesitated. The cleaners. Machines built in the First Galactic War. Sentinels. They reset planets. Zara stepped away from the node. And the list? Why are we on it? Scythe looked at her. Because the cleaners don't just erase planets. They erase individuals first. Anyone who threatens the experiment, humans or not. Jom pointed a shaking hand. Then where's Vorn? No one answered. That night, the school buzzed with unease. Rumors of another disappearance rippled through the student body. A lacrosse player gone. A history teacher vanished mid-class. The police were called, but left empty-handed. Nothing on security footage. No data traces. That's when Chick made his biggest discovery. In the relic chamber, he peeled away the outer interface of the purifier node. Beneath it, hidden in a sublayer of ancient logic code, he found another list, a deeper one, a backup. It had only one name, Earth. What does it mean? Jom whispered. Zara's eyes darkened. It means we've failed the test. The team moved fast. Chick began the decryption process, rerouting node access through a backdoor override used in pre-alliance programming. But to activate it, it needed organic verification, a sacrifice. Something with enough living neural code to bypass the security lock. Jom didn't wait. Before anyone could stop him, he reached in his chest and pulled out a shimmering core of liquid memory, his shape seed. his entire identity. He handed it to Chick and collapsed. "I'm a mimic," he said with a broken smile. "But this is the real me." Zara caught him before he hit the floor. "You'll die without it. Or worse," Chick added. "You'll forget who you are." "Then remind me," John whispered. The override activated. The node pulsed red, then gold. The list blinked. Every name vanished. The cleaners were halted. The judgment paused. But then a new message appeared on the crystal. Threat source unresolved. Reassessing target. A new name formed. Zara stepped forward and watched in horror as the final name shimmered onto the wall. Zara. And beneath it, in ancient glyphs. Judgment deferred. Final key detected. The glyphs faded. The hum stopped, and the school fell eerily, impossibly silent. Judgment deferred. The silence was unnatural. No birdsong, no humming of lights, no whispers in the corners of Zara's mind. Just stillness. She stood before the now dormant node. Her name burned into her memory like a curse. Final key detected. The phrase repeated in her mind, cold and absolute. Whatever the purifier was, it had changed its target. Or maybe not changed. Maybe it had always been her. Behind her, Jom stirred. He was breathing barely. His shape seed gone. He looked half-formed, shifting like mist in human form. Zara knelt beside him, her hand resting on the back of his neck. "You saved us," she said. He blinked, confused. "Us? You slowed it down. Bought time. But this thing, it's not done." Chick and SciFiThriller stood on either side of the node, the air between them thick with unspoken calculations. Chick's swarm tech buzzed as it stitched fragments of the node's internal map into a hologram. SciFiThriller was reading it not as code, but as prophecy. "It's not just a machine," she said. "It's aware, a distributed intelligence. Fractal logic. The purifier isn't an agent of destruction. It's an arbiter." Zara stood slowly. "Then what is it judging?" Chick's hologram zoomed outward, through tunnels, past the school's foundations, beneath the very bedrock of the region. The image twisted and then zoomed in again farther down. Beneath everything was a shape. Vast, circular, coiled like a sleeping beast. "Mother Node," Chick whispered. "This is just a relay. The real system is under the planet." Zara swallowed hard. "And I'm the key to waking it up." Back at the surface, St. Hilaire Academy was unraveling. Students wandered halls in fugue states, eyes blank. Teachers repeated lessons on loop, as if caught in a time glitch. The sky was wrong, duller than it should have been. Too still, like the atmosphere was holding its breath. Zara walked among them, invisible, or perhaps just ignored. She passed Ana Reyes near the library. Anna's eyes locked onto her, sharper than before. Too sharp. She smiled that same glassy smile. "You're going to do it, aren't you?" Zara froze. "Do what?" "Choose. That's what keys do." Anna's head tilted. "You think this is about saving Earth. But you're not here to stop anything. You're here to activate it." Zara stepped closer, voice low. "Who are you?" Anna blinked. Then, for a heartbeat, her skin rippled. Not glitching like Jom's, but slipping, revealing something angular beneath. A silver lattice. Eyes with no iris. She smiled again. Just a previous version. Down in the node chamber, SciFiThriller found a tunnel the others had missed. It led to a black door marked only with 3 glyphs. Ancient, pulsing faintly. Zara touched it. It opened without resistance. Inside was a chamber like a cathedral. At its center, a throne. Or something like it. Not built for humans. Built for something far older. Crystalline, jagged, humming with energy. Hovering inches above the ground, surrounded by broken chains of light. "I've seen this in dreams," Zara whispered. SciFiThriller didn't move. "That's because it's yours." A projection flared above the throne. Images spilled across the chamber. Thousands of planets, each surrounded by the same hum, the same glow. Some green and vibrant. Some gray, burnt, empty. A voice echoed. Not heard, felt. Final key recognized. Planetary maturity, 73%. Cognitive divergence, escalating. Decision pending. Zara staggered back. "This isn't judgment. It's selection." Chick nodded. "And you're the deciding vote." Back at the wall room, the list reappeared. This time, no names. Just one word. Reboot. Then split in two. A. Isolation protocol. Total memory erasure. B. Integration protocol. Full disclosure. Zara stared at it. Her chest rose and fell in shallow breaths. She looked at her friends, Chick, ragged and twitching. Scythe, quiet and solemn. Jom, trembling in an almost body. If she chose A, Earth would forget everything. The cleaners would reset human knowledge of extraterrestrial life. The purifier would leave. Peace at a cost. An artificial dream. If she chose B, humanity would awaken. No more hiding. No more secrecy. But chaos would follow. Governments would fall. Fates might fracture. But Earth would grow, painfully, honestly. Zara stepped forward and placed her hand on the glowing surface. A voice filled the chamber. Choice confirmed. Integration protocol selected. Welcome to the new age. The list burst into gold light and dissolved. Above them, the sky cracked open, and something answered from beneath. The new age. The sky tore open like paper. A ripple spread across the clouds, gold and violet arcs pulsing outward from a fixed point high above St. Hilaire Academy. For a moment, the sun itself seemed to pause, suspended mid-glow. Then came the hum. Not mechanical, not electrical, organic. It resonated in bone and blood, in thought and instinct. The hum of a world turning its face to something far older than itself. The mother node had awakened. Zara stood at the center of it all, her hand still resting on the now silent control slab. Around her, the throne chamber dissolved, walls retracting like petals, revealing an impossible sky filled with cascading light structures and gravitational seams. St. Hilaire was no longer just a school. It was the crown of a buried starship, a ship built into Earth itself. The planet isn't the test, Zara whispered. It's the vessel. Chick stared in awe. You mean Earth moves? It will, Scythe said. If Zara lets it. Above ground, the students snapped out of their stupor. They spilled onto the fields and walkways, gazing skyward, phones forgotten in trembling hands. What they saw could not be unseen. Enormous, silent craft drifting from thin air, appearing like memories restored. Angular and ancient, nothing like the smooth silver discs of human myth. One by one, they took position high in the atmosphere. Not as conquerors, as witnesses. The integration protocol had begun. Humanity's moment of truth was here. Inside the node core, Jom had restabilized enough to stand. His voice, though weakened, was firm. So what now? Do we explain everything? Host a press conference? Zara didn't answer right away. She stepped toward the expanding light and reached into the control lattice. Her thoughts connected instantly. Data flooded her. Timelines, projections, futures mapped in fractal forks. In one, Earth panicked. Governments collapsed. War erupted. In another, people adapted. Slowly, painfully, but they survived. The difference between them? Time. The world can't take the whole truth right now, she said. But we can give them the tools. The choice to grow into it. Scythe's eyes glowed faintly. That's not the cleaner's way. Zara smiled faintly. Then it's time someone rewrote the system. She sent the first pulse herself. It traveled through the world's magnetic field like a whisper through water, nudging thoughts in subtle ways. Dreams, sudden inspiration, déjà vu. A soft disclosure. A gentle nudge. Humans would begin to wonder. To remember. To evolve. The cleaners wouldn't interfere. They had what they needed. A node that had judged in favor of integration. A planet that had chosen truth. Earth was now marked as an emergent ally, not a threat. The old protocol had ended, but one last surprise remained. As the structure around them fully unfolded, exposing the true scale of the hidden starship buried beneath St. Hilaire, Zara felt something shift in her chest. A code, not metaphorical, literal. A strand of activation DNA humming within her since birth, planted by the Alliance, hidden in her to serve as the final arbiter. She wasn't just an exchange student. She was the key. Her entire life had been scripted toward this moment. She turned to her friends. I wasn't chosen to come here by accident. I am the integration protocol. Jom stepped back. Wait, you mean, I wasn't meant to go home, Zara said softly. I am home. I was born here, genetically hidden from detection. An Earth native designed to wake the world when it was ready. Syleth nodded, eyes wide. You were never an observer. You're the bridge. The final sequence began. The buried vessel beneath Earth pulsed once, then retracted. It wouldn't fly. Not yet. It would sleep again. But this time it would guide. From within schools, cities, and networks. From within thought itself. Earth had become its own guardian. Later, as the sun set over a world forever changed, Zara stood on the roof of the school. Students gathered in clusters below, talking, laughing, crying. The alien ships had vanished, folded out of sight. But no one would forget. The story would spread. First as myth, then as truth. Chick approached her. They'll never fully know what you did. They don't have to, she said. They just have to keep going. And you? Zara smiled. I'll be here, helping them get ready for what's next. He frowned. What is next? She turned her eyes to the sky, where something shimmered, faint, distant, moving closer. Whatever comes after us.